Welcome back. I'm Ted Thomas, and this episode is all about Florida tax liens. You're going to love this episode because I'm going to show you and demonstrate a lot of different things that you normally wouldn't even know about, but you're going to be surprised. So I've been involved in this business for round numbers 30 years, and I've been teaching it for about 25 years. And I started out with tax lien certificates, and you might want to do the same thing. So why are you here? Most people are here because they want to make money. So let me show you some steps on how to do that. Before I finish this video, I'll even show you a few steps to make sure that you avoid the big mistakes. Okay, I've been in the teaching business for 25 years. I have 4 full-time coaches. We have 3 facilitators here in the office. So we're answering questions for people all day, every day, and we also answer questions with a certified coach every Wednesday night. And I'll come back and tell you some of those things. But this episode is all about Florida tax lien certificates. Okay, so let's talk a little bit of why it's so good in Florida to do this. Now, Florida isn't the only state that sells tax lien certificates. The United States is divided into about 50-50 situation where half of the states will sell tax lien certificates. That simply means they're going to issue a piece of paper because a person or a property owner did not pay their property tax. So those are just pieces of paper that you can buy that will give you rights in the property. And I'll come back and explain more about that in a minute. The other half of the states, well, what those states are going to do is they're going to actually sell a tax deed. And a tax deed means that the state, the local county, has gone out and they have confiscated a property because the property owner didn't pay, and now they're going to sell it back into the market at a very low price because they want to get it back on the tax roll. So let's talk a little bit about Florida. Now, this is a big business in Florida. You'll find in the average year, at least the past few years, there's 1 million certificates available in the state. Now, those are all sold at local county auctions. So if you were to call the county and you wanted to know how many tax lien certificates they have, I'm going to show you a couple of examples. For example, I'm going to pick up a newspaper here and hold it in my hands. And you can see it's quite thick. It's a good-sized newspaper, and I'm kind of thumbing down here so I can get to the middle of it without dropping everything on the floor. Anyway, there's a lot of tax lien certificates. So this is an announcement for the auction, and there's no pictures in this newspaper. It's just a list of tax lien certificates. Now, is there a lot of them? I'm going to tell you. This is Jacksonville or Duval County, and they'll have round numbers 30 or 35,000 tax certificates available. So I'm just showing you that newspaper. Now I'm too far away, you can't see it on camera, but these are just little lines, and the little line gives the property tax number and how much is owed on the tax. But you could buy any one of the tax lien certificates there in that county. And let me show you a couple other counties to give you an idea how big a business this is. This is a big business. There's 1 million in the state. Now this is Tampa, Florida. Okay, now this is Tampa, Florida newspaper. Same kind of thing. I'll just flip it over, and you can see it's just lines and lines and lines of tax lien certificates. Now there's no pictures in these newspapers. These newspapers only show you tax liens. There's no stories. There's just hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands. So this is Hillsborough County, Tampa, Florida, and they'll have about 40 or 45,000 certificates in the average year. Now, some years maybe a little less, some years a little bit more. I'll show you one more to give you an idea. Okay, now this is the Miami Herald, and they're announcing a tax auction there. Let me just open this up and I'll show you. Okay, no pictures, just thousands and thousands of tax certificates. Now, I want you to give this just a little bit of thought. I'm showing you a list. There's going to be 65,000 tax lien certificates available for anyone that wants to buy them. So we're going to teach you how to do that on this series of videos. So Florida is a state of round numbers, about 20 million people. We have a big influx of population from the high tax states because there's property tax here and there's sales tax, but there's no income tax in Florida, and our tax rates are very low because we don't waste a lot of money running the governments. We run the governments pretty efficiently. So there's 67 counties. That means, why am I telling you that? Because 67 different places for you to buy tax lien certificates just in the state of Florida. Now, I said there's 1 million certificates available. They won't be able to sell all the certificates. They just won't be able to. This is a business of abundance. There's always going to be too much. There's going to be too many tax lien certificates. There's going to be too many tax defaulted property, which is tax deeds. And there's going to be plenty of auctions for you to go to. So you can go to the auctions or you can do them online. Now, most of the tax lien certificate auctions now, as we record this, are online. Now, previously they were all offline, and you had to go to the county, get this particular list, get the list, and then go find the property and so on. We can do all that online, and we can teach you how to do that online so that you can sit wherever you're watching me right now, which is probably on a computer. If you're watching on your computer, well, guess what? You could be doing the same thing and buying tax liens and deeds online just using your computer. All right, now some of these counties will have so many tax lien certificates, they can't sell them. So what they will do when they can't sell them is they'll put them on another list, which is a subject of one of my videos. It's called Over the Counter. So you'll want to go and look that video up. What really takes place there is they didn't sell it at the auction. So what they did is they send those tax liens over to a surplus lands list, a leftover lands list, scavenger list, forfeited lands list. It's all things, different names. So you can just call the county or you can email the county and say, you want to look at that list. You have to explain that it's the list that didn't sell at the tax lien auction. It didn't sell. Those properties are available and there's no bidding. Whereas if you wanted to buy a tax lien certificate in Florida, all the bidding starts at 18%. So that's the highest rate the state pays. The next bid is 17.5. The next bid after that is 17. That's going to go down to 16.5. It can bid all the way down to just less than 1%. And so the point I'm telling you that is it's a reverse auction. The lowest bidder gets the tax lien. Now you're saying, wait a minute, Ted, auctions always go up. Yes, I understand that. These auctions go down because they're trying to protect the property tax. They're trying to protect the property owners. So the more bidding that goes on in that property, the more it comes down. That's the less interest that property owner is going to have to pay. Because here's how a tax lien works. If the property owner doesn't pay, the local government issues a certificate. The certificate pays 18% if no one bids it lower. But if people bid it lower, it could go all the way down to 1/4%. That's how low it could go. But the point is, the lower it goes, the less money you're going to make. So don't go to those auctions and start bidding it down. You want to make 18%. Remember, when you go to a tax lien certificate auction, you are just buying a piece of paper. Now, let me just pick up a piece of paper here, and I'll show you what you're going to buy. You're just going to buy a piece of paper like this. And this piece of paper is going to have your name on it. It's going to have the interest rate. It's going to have the county. And that's exactly what you'll get paid on. They'll pay it to that name. So if it's in the IRA, they'll pay to that IRA name. And they'll pay whatever percent that you won the bid at. So if you win it at 16%, you'll get 16%. And then it'll tell you when you're going to get paid. And that is when the people come in and pay their tax. All right, will you have to go out and maintain that property? Will you have to be in the property management business? No. This is a passive investment. You just sit on your rusty dusty. And so this piece of paper has a lot of power. Okay, now Florida's going to have 1 million of those pieces of paper. I said 1 million. And so there's plenty for everybody. Passive investment. People fly from many other states just to come here during the auction time. Not necessary to fly anymore. You don't have to travel the auctions anymore. You can do all of it online. So you're getting the idea. Now, if you buy a tax lien certificate, what you're concerned is you want to get paid. So you're going to raise your hand at that auction. You raise your hand, say you want that. Now you can raise your hand online, you can do it offline, either way. So you raised your hand, you said you wanted that particular tax lien. So they're going to issue that to you. It's going to have a number on it. Now they've issued it to you. Now, why did you do that? Because you wanted to make money. Well, these certificates make up to 18% in the state of Florida. That's a heck of a good rate of return. Now at the end of 2 years, if those people haven't paid, then what will happen is you petition the state and they'll have another auction. Why will they have another auction? Because now they'll have a tax deed auction, and you want to cover on one of my other videos about tax deeds. They will then sell it at auction. So if someone comes in and buys it at the tax deed auction, you'll get all the money that you invested plus the high interest rate that you did. So the beauty of tax certificates is you invest with the government, you get a check back from the government, and what you're going to have is a predictable, certain, and secure investment. Predictable, certain, and secure. Because if you don't get paid, you will get the property. Let me say that again. If you don't get paid on a tax lien certificate, you're going to get the property. Doesn't get much better than that. All right, let me tell you about a couple of mistakes people make. They said, oh, Ted, this is so safe and secure, I'm just going to buy them all online. I have no problem with you buying them online. But there's two things you need to do if you're going to buy a tax lien certificate or a tax deed. Now, these are the two biggest mistakes. I'm going to give them to you right now. You should write them down. Mistake number one, people don't look at the property. They just buy something, assume it's going to be a good deal. Or they pray that it's going to be a good deal. Well, I can tell you, praying is not a good business strategy because you might get there and the place is burned down. It might have been in a flood area. It might have been a hurricane. I don't know what could happen, but you don't want to buy anything unless you know it's there. So I always say to the ladies, you wouldn't marry the guy unless you saw him. Well, it's the same situation here. So that's big mistake number one. Now here's big mistake number two. Number two, what are you going to do with this certificate? What if they don't pay? If they don't pay, you're going to get the property. Let me say that again. If they don't pay a tax lien certificate, more than likely you're going to get the property. Now, if you get the property, what are you going to do with it? Well, you're going to want to sell it. Well, then I'm going to suggest that you had gone out there and looked at it and figured out what it would sell for. Because if you can't sell it, then you're going to lose your money. So the point is, you always want to look and see what's there. Secondly, you want to make sure that you have an exit strategy. Okay, so people ask different questions, so let me try to cover it. One question people ask is, should they get in a high-growth state like Florida, or should they invest in New York where they have a declining population? All right, so here's the situation. When you're in a fast start situation, you want to be in a place like Florida because there's a lot of activity, a lot of things going on, a lot of tax lien certificate auctions, and a few tax deed auctions. All right, now, as we come to market now and the videos are being produced, you're going to find it's really a fast start state. Whereas New York is losing people hundreds of thousands every single year because they're a high tax state and they have a turmoil in their economy and their governor doesn't want people out working during the COVID and all the rest of it. So Florida's back to work and everything's okay. In New York, it's a kind of a depressed market. I would say more than kind of. It's a depressed market. All right, so there will be more tax defaulted properties in the state of New York than there will be in the state of Florida. Now, if you're going to buy those, you better steal them. Let me say that again. If you're going to buy those, you better steal them. Now, either place if you buy, there's not going to be any mortgage. But what are you going to do with what you buy? You better make sure that you know what you're going to do before you buy. Now, the biggest mistake people make is they don't plan an exit strategy. It's going to be easy to exit in Florida. It's going to be slow to exit in New York. That's my forecast. Now, I'm about to run out of time, so what I'm going to do is make a suggestion for you. I'd like to see you join my community. If you liked what you heard today and you want to get more information, we're there with questions and answers all the time. So what you could do is I have a mini course, which is a gift, okay? It's a 1-hour gift, actually, okay? It's an online course, online free gift. And the first part of it is all about tax lien certificates. Second part is all about tax deeds. So you can be a mini investor and you'll be on a fast start if you do that. So how do you get it? Do just what I'm going to tell you right now. Go to tedthomas.com/fast start. So if you want a fast start, you want a whole hour video explaining tax lien certificates and tax defaulted property, even showing you some examples of people doing it, you want to go to tedthomas.com/fast start. I'm Ted Thomas. I'll see you on the next video.